Your inaction comes from fear of the unknown, which is essentially just fear of change. I heard this just today. It came through in an email, and it was profound. So simple, but so profound. Because actually, for the last few days, I've been feeling this real resistance, this struggle, this inaction. There are things that I want to do, supposedly, but I'm not doing them. I'm starting a business, and I've got this opportunity to start a local meditation group. I've got a meditation course, and I've got the opportunity to promote it online. I've got the opportunity to run workshops, and I'm just putting off the main tasks I need to do to actually get these things done. Which is lunacy. This is something I want. This is something I've dreamed about. And here I am, avoiding it, resisting it, and more than anything, just feeling afraid. And I've been approaching it in the last week or two with a real sense of compassion, noticing the fear as it's been coming up in me and being with it and taking rest and time that I need to adjust. Because part of it really is almost preparing and aligning your nervous system with a new reality. But it's frustrating. Why is it that I can't do the things that I want to do? The really meaningful things. And it's funny to me because why do I have this fear of the unknown? This entire life that surrounds me right now came from the unknown. I'm living in New Zealand, which is a completely new country to me. A year ago I was living in Australia. 3 years ago I was living in London. I've had a lot of change in my life. I've quit my job without any plan. I started a business in the UK without any real clue what I was doing. I've quit my job again here in New Zealand to focus on this business. So why? Why, if I've experienced so much unknown in my life and so much goodness from that place, am I still so afraid of it? It's frustrating. It really is. And I know it's not unique to me. I mean, even here amongst my social circle in Wellington, several friends going through similar life transitions and feeling paralyzed by fear. Needing a new place to live and not looking for it. Needing a job and not hunting for one. We just seem to procrastinate on the things that are most important to us. So in this video, I really wanted to explore fear as it exists for me and my journey towards fear, as I explore what it is that's holding me back in this very moment. It's funny how quickly we can adapt. It's funny how something new can come into our lives and then that becomes our reality. That becomes the thing that we're afraid of losing, even though it wasn't there previously. Prime example for me right now is a new romantic connection that didn't exist a few months ago. It wasn't in my life at all. And now there's like a sense of fear. What if it goes? Living in a shared house here in New Zealand, and one of the flatmates has left. I've only been here 6-7 months or something. But then suddenly this fear of, but what if the new person disrupts the harmony, the balance? Disrupts the thing that didn't exist for me before. Even this week, and I think this is what triggered it for me. I was having a conversation with the conductor of the choir that I'm part of, and he shared that he might be leaving in a few months' time. And it shook me. I was like, what? You can't go. This isn't part of the plan. I've been really enjoying this. So we really hold on to the things in our life. And we don't want to let them go. We're afraid of change, of what that might mean. And logically, I can look back on my life and I can see every time I let go of something, it created space for something new. I know that I had to let go of my life in London to create space for this. I know from past experience that sometimes you have to let go of people, of friendships, of former partners. And until you do that, you can't really allow something new to emerge. So I know this logically. But there's this real feeling that I'm desperate for comfort. Just comfort. And I see that it's been a pattern throughout my life. That search for comfort really just means stability. It just means, in a way, avoiding the painful truths of life. Not being okay with discomfort. With the parts of life that are harder to handle. And for me, that's meant things like anger. Not wanting anger in my life. Not wanting conflict in my life. Because it disturbs the peace. And it set me on this path of being a people pleaser. Where my entire focus was moving myself around to fit the edges of everyone else in my life, to smooth things over. But of course, by avoiding conflict, it prevents an outer struggle but creates an inner war. Because you're not living in alignment with your truth, with your values, with the things that are important to you, with your wants and your desires. And so I recognize that now in my current situation, that I have this balance going on right now, where I have created a very comfortable life. It's so comfortable. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm being stretched, but not too much. I'm afraid of the next step, what that looks like as my business grows and suddenly having a lot more responsibility, things that are out of my hands, out of my control. Because the unknown presents things that are out of our control. But of course, control is illusion. What control do we have? You notice this most when there is just some massive disruption in someone's life, or in many people's lives. In economics, I remember studying this, and it was called a black swan event. Something that would happen that was completely unexpected, like COVID. No one predicted that. No one had that on that radar. And yet look at the disruption that it caused. All of these plans that people had that they thought were so secure, that they were in control of, completely swept aside. It's very humbling if we allow ourselves to be humbled by it. And we can see that in a micro version in our lives. You know, it might feel like you're in control of your life, but tomorrow, who's to say you won't lose your job? Who's to say you won't lose someone really important in your life? Who's to say you won't be injured in some way? And that's not to dwell on the negative possibilities of life, but it's to reflect on the reality that things are out of our control. They really, really are. And I think part of the problem is, as humans, we like to order things. We like to keep things in nice little groups. I mean, look at the way that we look out on the world and we label things and categorize things. That's a leaf, that's a branch, that's a tree. Everything's segmented. We don't see it as part of this wider ecosystem that really is beyond our view. So we can't see how we fit into something much larger than ourselves. So I've created this fear in my mind. It's an imagination, and it's not even well developed. It's not as if I've got some sort of view of what could possibly go wrong as I step forward into this new stage of my life, as I launch these groups and run more things online. It's not like I've mapped out what failure might look like, but there's just some sense of inertia, some sort of paralysis. Because right now, I feel like I'm in control. Everything is so steady. So how do we get out of this bind? And I say this for myself, and perhaps for you as well, as you're listening to this. Maybe you're going through something similar. How do we get ourselves out of this situation? For me, something so important for me has been developing trust. It's actually the intention for my year is trust. And it means a few things for me. At a small level, it means trust in myself. Trust in my capacity to be resourceful, to be flexible, to work things out, to handle whatever comes my way, because when I look at my past, well, I handled everything then. And even if right now you're in a present situation that is difficult, you're handling it. You're getting by day. You are doing the best that you can. Otherwise, you would be doing something different. And we only have to look at the awful calamities that take place across the world to see how resilient we are as human beings. Adaptation is our superpower. We can adapt. Of course we can. We're just afraid to. So I can trust in myself as I step forward into something that scares me. But I can also have trust in something much bigger than myself. I can trust that whatever arises within my life is what I need. And I believe that because I believe things come to us as a way of helping us to grow, to expand. We get what we need. So I can let go of my attachment to the outcome and just know that whatever comes my way is right for me. And I can also trust in something divine. When I look back at all of the experiences I've had of taking a leap of faith, well, there's this wonderful quote by Terence McKenna, and to paraphrase it, it's this idea that one of the great mysteries and lessons of life is recognizing that when we take a leap of faith, we discover not that there are jagged rocks at the bottom, but a soft, feathered landing. It's as if we're being encouraged to take that leap, to have that trust, that faith, and there will be a soft landing. And I have experienced that multiple times. I really have. My favorite example was when I put everything aside and followed my intuition to come into New Zealand, packed my bags, packed everything up, and arrived in Auckland without a plan. God, what was I thinking? I wasn't really. And when I arrived, it suddenly dawned on me that I had to establish myself, that I had to find a place to live, build community and start all over again. And I was just shattered. It was winter, I was tired, and I was wondering, what the hell have I just done? And then I got a message from my only friend in New Zealand. And he said, hey, a room has just become free in my house. Do you want to come live with me? Now, if that isn't a soft landing, I don't know what is. I felt so supported. So supported. And so I do trust. I do trust that when I step into my truth, into my purpose, into the things that are right for me, align with my values, when I do the things that make me scared, when I'm vulnerable, that I will be supported because I'm growing. And I feel like growth is just the primary nature of life. Everything is constantly growing. Everything is constantly changing. And maybe it's just happening at such a slow speed that we're not really able to see it. And that's okay too. And I'm doing that right now with my outlook on life currently. Because there's a temptation inside me to beat myself up, to say, hey, why haven't you launched this meditation group yet? You could just do it, just send a few emails, start the market, blah, 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 blah. I could beat myself up, which is my old way of being. Or I could acknowledge, hey, okay, so I have missed this deadline that I set for myself, which was an arbitrary day. And on an individual day, it might feel like no progress is being made. But just zoom out. Today, it feels hard, it feels like nothing is moving, but just zoom out. If I zoom out a week, a month, 3 months, and then really look at what has happened, really look at what I've stepped into. I know for me, it's just, I feel like I'm in this process of growth. It's just this bud shooting out, and I can't force it to go any faster. It will emerge when it emerges. And it's uncomfortable as it's bursting. That's how it feels to me. It's a very uncomfortable process, birth, creation. But we can just be with it instead of trying to force it. Feel the contractions of life. I'll get there. I know I will. I trust in myself. I trust in the universe. And I hope you trust in yourself too. Maybe there is something you really desire to create, to share, to shed. It's okay if it's taking longer than you'd like. Don't beat yourself up. It's part of the growth process. And over a longer time span, you'll see that. I think when we can soften, when we can be kind to ourselves, it feels so contradictory. We feel like we should be tense. We should work harder. Squeeze it out. But I just think we need to soften. And then allow these things to happen much more naturally. In their own time. And take the pressure off yourself. Remind yourself why you're doing this. Is it for that sense of joy, because it lights you up, because it feels important, it's meaningful? Because you know that there is a life for you that feels more aligned to who you are. You'll get there. Well, I hope that's been helpful in some way for you. For me, I know it has. And what more can I ask for, really? Please do like, follow, and leave a comment below. I really love hearing what you have to say. And I do have a meditation course. I can share this in this video now. If you follow the link below, you can sign up. It's 5 days. It's completely free. Bunch of meditations, and then also sharing a lot of insights that I've discovered over the years that have really helped me to transform my way of thinking, so that I have less of an inner critic and more of an inner cheerleader. Alrighty, have a lovely day.